Nice. They're all coming through. Look at that. There you go.
Who's coming through?
All the
notifications.
Music? No boom. Bump, 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 bump. Welcome back to the CONVO Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pastor Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella. How's everyone doing?
Oh, there we are. Double take.
Double.
Are we in? We're in.
Great.
Is that microphone close to your mouth there? Can we hear you, fam? Because a woman's voice should be amplified, especially this woman's voice over here. It's been a crazy week. Fam was away last week. She was doing some work, and she's back. So sorry, I just didn't want to go without fam. I didn't want to get a substitute. I needed my fam, and my fam is back. So we have a lot of things to talk about because I heard somebody up this morning hitting the keyboards, typing away, because somebody raised $6.1 million since they announced. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us who that is, fam?
Apparently, Beto O'Rourke.
Is it Beto or Beto?
It's Beto.
No.
He gets called Beto because he's trying to appeal to the Hispanic kind of, Texan thing. A lot of people thought he was Hispanic because of that name. So another form of identity politics. But Beto announces, okay, and in the past weekend, as Beto decided that he was running, everyone had already made a consensus that they were going to donate to Bernie Sanders. All of his supporters were like, look, as soon as Beto announces, we're going to donate to him. That's exactly what they did. And I'm hearing reports of about $2 million for Bernie the day that Beto announced. I have a source and I can't confirm that just yet, but I am hearing that about $2 million. So Beto announced and everybody was posting all these memes. Thank you for your donation. Can you share your donation for Bernie? Because everybody started posting how much they donated to Bernie. It was also 3.14. It was also Pi Day. And people were donating to Bernie. So now, as soon as Beto announced, there was a couple of things that were happening. They didn't want to throw out the fact of how many numbers, of how much they actually got, and who, and how many donors, because it's very important for grassroots campaigns. If you're going to call yourself a grassroots campaign, you need to be able to have various donors across the board, like Bernie Sanders did, and not just have huge donors. Okay, so there's a lot of memes making fun of Beto. When he announced, he had this really weird announcement that Johnny, do you have that here? It's a Twitter video just of him announcing, and I'm pointing this out just because it's funny, but it also because it's funny. So he was just flailing his arms like a composer, like even Donald Trump started.
When Beto O'Rourke literally jumped into the presidential race, he was up in arms, his arms.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt. And if you look at the climate, to get all of this done, we would be fools.
Disarming Beto was not an option.
And I think we should begin with the end.
Even when sitting with his wife,
the last great hope of Earth.
His other arm kept escaping from her clutches.
Okay.
It was almost as if he were doing sign language.
Yes, sir, in the red hat.
Even President Trump tipped his hat to Beto's hands.
Well, I think he's got a lot of hand movement. I've never seen so much hand movement. I said, is he crazy or is that just the way he acts? Study it. I'm sure you'll agree.
I'm sure you'll agree.
But instead, like what Beto got was a lot of people donating to Bernie. So I have several of these Bernie memes. Just of the guy, the salt guy, throwing dollars at Bernie. And then the Bernie and AOC and Beto.
That was the steak guy with the salt, if you guys don't remember. Did you get my receipt I sent you over there? I put it to the computer. I sent it to you. If you look at the downloads, the two videos after the videos, I sent the receipt, fam, because when you told me about this stuff, I saw this late at night. I decided to donate $27, but I sent $2 to the campaign staff. So I have a $29 donation as soon as I heard Bet No announce. So,
and people just started putting out the issues with Beto, why they didn't like him, like Peter Douche, who I love, posted, his love for AIPAC, his support of fracking.
You got this tweet up?
He voted with the GOP a lot. He broke the no fossil fuel pledge, which was a huge deal in reference to to Beto because a lot of people were saying, oh, he's a grassroots candidate, and then he went into corporate money. He also supported, he didn't support Medicare for All. He didn't support Fight for 15. And he lost to Ted Cruz. So obviously he's not necessarily a viable candidate that we have.
This guy comes up with some genius stuff. Peter Douche's Twitter was taken down before, and the fact that he came back with Peter Douche's liaison, and he just hits it on the nose. So
and OpenSea, it's not the real. It's not. Yeah, it's not Peter Dow. It's Peter Douche.
It's Peter Douche.
Yeah.
But they took the Peter Douche down, so he had to come back with Peter Douche liaison because Twitter's trying to censor your voice.
Well, yeah, we know that. And then on Open Secrets, if you guys go to opensecrets.com, .org, I'm sorry, you can see the amount of money he has from the fossil fuel industry. He's the second member of Congress, only second to Ted Cruz, and he has about $476,325 so far from the oil industry. Yes, it could be individual employees, but that's a lot of it. That would require a lot of
It's a shit ton of money. That's a lot of favors right there.
Yeah, and also he did make a pledge he would stay well under that number, and he broke it, which is important.
But what did they say to the candidates who say it's almost impossible to come out of Texas and not take big oil money? Because I've heard, it's almost impossible. You're from Texas. You got to take big oil money to compete. I think that
always seems impossible until someone does it. That's what they said about someone like Bernie existing.
Yeah.
That it's impossible. You have to play the game. You have to take corporate money. And look, he did it, and now everybody's trying to do it. But then they find that it is really hard. So then they eventually give in.
Yeah.
So by the end of all of this, the Beto campaign did not want to release any numbers. I have this picture here that says, help Beto break the 24-hour fundraising record. This isn't necessarily directly from the Beto campaign, but it did show numbers, if you see the numbers right there, of how much he was getting. They were asking for more help to get him over his goal.
Yeah. Well, there goes the phones going off. You know what it is too, fam? It's like the first time they put the fishing hook in the water with Kamala Harris, it didn't hit. So now they're doing the same thing. Now this is Beto. This is the second hook in the water. I think we only got one more hook in the water going. It will be Joe Biden if he announces. But it seems like they just keep on throwing darts at the board. And the behavior is the same. It's almost like we have to show the mainstream of people that Beto raised more than Bernie Sanders.
Exactly.
And it's such a crock of shit.
Exactly. And instead of being like, oh, here are my numbers so far, this is all that I've raised, which would be the normal reaction to someone that's proud, that wants to show their numbers, like the Bernie Sanders campaign was doing the entire time. David Sliders posted on Twitter that Beto said, I choose not to, when he was asked if he could share fundraising figures. And he was asked by the media, and he said he's choosing not to share. Gotcha.
Just hit decline.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So, go ahead.
And so, meanwhile, all of this is happening with Beto. Bernie Sanders is going around to Henderson, Nevada. He also is unionizing his entire campaign staff. The entire Bernie campaign staff has announced that its workforce will be unionizing, making it the first major party presidential campaign in history to be powered by union labor.
Guess where I'll be Wednesday, fam?
We will be at the UCLA.
Marching with fucking labor, baby.
Exactly.
Sorry, I love it. Good labor. There's a difference between good labor and bad labor. Let me just hold that now because...
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on and stuff.
So here's the thing. Sanders holds a large lead among 18 to 29-year-olds with 61% of the vote, while Warren is second with 15% of support. So with voters over the age of 65, Biden leads with 38%. Sanders is second with his 26%. By the way, Biden hasn't even announced formally. He told his pals he's running, but he really hasn't announced. And I have this poll here that people have been throwing around for the 2020 Democratic primary by Emerson Polling, and it has Bernie Sanders in the lead by a lot.
Yeah, I heard that Joe Biden whispered into a 16-year-old girl's ear that he's running, and she replied, "So am I, away from you."
That's a good one.
I know, I just made that up on the spot. Isn't that great?
Oh. Hey,
Joe
Ron,
Biden. Sorry.
Pasta's looking for a job.
I'm looking for a gig, Ron Placone. Thank you and stuff.
But and here's a picture of Henderson, Nevada, which our boy Johnny went to, and our friends went to, and
Johnny, get the camera on your face and tell us what you experienced there. Your first Bernie rally. Fam was like, "Oh, dude, Johnny's he's breaking his Bernie cherry." What did you think about your first Bernie rally? Honestly, give us your honest opinion about what you saw and what it was like.
Oh, the rally?
Yeah, the rally.
The rally.
6.5 hours for one way and 6 hours back. When he's going to be here 3 times next week.
It was like 4 hours. It wasn't that bad, you know.
It's 8 hours total.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, there was a lot of Bernie supporters out there, people of all ages. There were some hecklers, though.
There were.
Yeah, and actually, like,
were they Trump hecklers? Or?
Oh yeah. They were like carrying Trump flags, and they had their motorcycles like right during Bernie's speech, and they were just like room, 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 like really loud during the speech, and that was just really weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they're gonna do that.
Did nobody go over and confront them? Sorry.
I went over to do that.
I know Fan would have gone over, like, got a chant around to get around them and start clapping or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people over there?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess it was an outdoor park, so and it was Henderson, which is 30 minutes outside of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say there was like about 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
1,000?
Yeah.
That's probably one of his smaller rallies, because
they didn't really give a lot of notice for that one. It was kind of quick. It kind of came up and stuff. So, I mean, you know, but we're going to get to go see him this week. We're going to go Wednesday. Me and Johnny Pesto over here, we're going to go Friday down there. So, James Aaliyah, where you at? We want to come see you. Haven't seen you for a while. Love to come and say hi to you guys. I know a lot of our other friends are really, really busy. So, Friday, looking to get down there and feel the burn. So.
Absolutely.
Sand Dog.
Awesome.
And Saturday back in LA.
Exactly. So we'll have more information on that as it transpires. But I wanted to talk about how Beto's campaign is assuring that they raised $6.1 million in 24 hours. But they gave no numerical evidence. Okay. So let's talk about this here. Beto just announced. He just announced, and somehow he has raised more money than Bernie Sanders, who had not only 2016, but an entire momentum of people waiting for him, asking him to run. Run, Bernie, run. If you guys remember, people were asking him to run. All of a sudden, Beto jumps in, and in 24 hours, he somehow outraises Bernie Sanders. It doesn't make sense. Number one, he doesn't have the following or the momentum to even raise that many people. That many people don't even care about him being this popular guy that rides a skateboard. Like, not enough people care. So
he rides a skateboard?
I did a little bit of research for him.
Fam, you doing research? No.
And I found that bundling is a very, very fun thing that the establishment likes to do.
You like bundle your cable with your phone.
Exactly.
Bundle your, what else can we bundle now? Your TV, your cable, your phone.
The internet access.
I bundle my underwear personally. I put them in.
Good to know, fam.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
But he had roughly, if you do the calculations, he has roughly 1% of the donors that Bernie has. But him and his Obama era friends decided that they would have to donate a larger amount of money to equate that to Bernie. So here's the math. And I got a 99% in my statistics class, by the way.
So yeah, this is going to be good shit.
Yes,
we're doing the math.
Okay.
Let's break it down.
Let's break it down.
Hold on.
Johnny, your face is up there. Look how beautiful you look.
Okay, so...
Wait.
Oh, waiting?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, he's got a calculator up. Quick maths. Look at this.
Okay.
All right, so give him the numbers.
Okay,
Step by step. And keep an eye over there.
If the maximum donation is now, as of 2019, $2,800 per person.
Yes.
Okay. For each cycle. So, by the way, just so you guys know, you get $2,800 for the primary, and then you can get $2,800 for the general.
Yeah.
They can take the full $5,600 right away, but they only cash it through, supposedly, if the candidate makes it into the general. Just FYI. Yeah. Okay. So you get $2,800, and you divide what Beto had, which is $6.1 million over $2,800.
So 6 million. There you go. 6.1. Go ahead. Keep going.
Got to put the 0.1.
One more. Is that it? That's 61 million. Go back one. My bad. No, that's 60. You were right. Is that right, fam?
No, that's 6.1.
6. Now divide that into 2,800. You're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Divide it into 2,800. Let's get that maths up there.
2,800. Quick maths.
Okay.
Why isn't this coming? Well, what I got is 2,179. That's
pretty much.
That's a likely estimate. Okay, so that's a likely large estimate from the big money donors, the ones that you're going to get that much from. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you take that and you go to Bernie's entire donors, 223,000 different people that Bernie got money from, all of these donors.
I heard it was 360,000.
Okay, this is
Wow.
the number I have right now.
That's the first cycle reported. Got it.
Right.
Got
It's
it.
over 2179, you get 102%.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So once you have 102%, that is the amount of times more donors that Bernie has than Beto. Okay. So just going by the average of what it would have taken for him to go, he would have had to have 102 times more donors
Yes.
than Bernie did in order to get those amounts via a grassroots effort. Obviously, he didn't. He had higher donors. He hasn't released who they are. Now, if Beto didn't do that, the other allegation is that he didn't raise 6.1 million, but that the leftover 4.5 million from his Senate campaign went to the state party. And you can follow this on the FEC filings public record. The disbursements won't happen till the end of April. So you're not going to see that because the donors from January to March aren't going to be disclosed until mid to late April. But if you go to the FEC website and if you see these graphics I have, it just shows you the amount of times there's the Texas Democratic Party from Beto for Texas. You can see all of this going on there. So there's an allegation that he didn't even have that much to begin with, that he actually outsourced this from his campaign and transferred it over. Now, we can't really say that for sure because we really won't know until April.
Yeah.
Okay. But
That's when it's going to get reported.
correct. Yeah. But the fact is this is 2020. 2019 onwards to 2020. What happened in 2015 and 2016 means we're not going to sit back and wait for the law to do its job because the law is backtracked. It's behind. We have to be 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And James Aaliyah pointed this out in his status too. When you have millions of followers, you have 9 million followers and you're Bernie Sanders, and you get roughly 5.9 million dollars in donations. That's believable. But if you're Beto and you have barely, is it under a million of a following, and you get 6 million, over 6 million, that alone should send you some signals.
I think the thing to take from this more importantly than anything is, number one, the numbers do not add up.
No.
At all. I mean, it's plain and simple.
No matter what you do.
This is second grade math that you can see that there's no way feasible that he can get this money. Number two, the establishment still is playing the same game. They're still trying to create the narrative that, these establishment Democrats can beat a Bernie Sanders. They can outraise a Bernie Sanders. Like I said, they put their fishing hook in the water when it came to Kamala. Mm-hmm. Now they're moving on to Beto. So the fact that they're using the mainstream media to trick people, to fool people by putting up these fugazi numbers is the same type of behavior that they just won't stop. And I think it's great, fam, that you're getting out in front of this and letting people know, hey, it ain't Beto, it's Bet. No, these numbers don't add up. Don't be fucking fooled. Beto couldn't beat Ted Cruz. There's no way he's going to beat Donald Trump.
And let me just continue, fam, because all I'm hearing from certain aspects of whether they're progressive or not, or progressive, whatever you want to call it, is that it's okay because Beto is a strong fundraiser. That if you're good at fundraising, you should get these numbers easily. That never happened before Bernie. That doesn't happen. You know why? Because you don't get these numbers easily without huge donors, without people throwing in money. And that's exactly what they did. So all of this that I went over, plus the fact that the former Obama bundler, known as a bundler named Louis Sussman, has been reaching out to the top Democratic Party donors willing to contribute large sums of money to gain support for Beto O'Rourke's 2020 candidacy. And if you go to the CNBC article, Jonathan, you can
it's right there.
Look right through that and show the audience that's exactly what they're doing. And he refuses to tell us the numbers. And this person, that's their job, is to get him as many Democratic donors as possible. Yeah. So add up with that, with the fact that he doesn't have a large following. This seemed to happen overnight. They're not giving you the numbers. the FEC report won't come in till later, and they know that. That's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. What happened to all these people talking about their dark money now, too, as well? Like, how much dark money is coming in over here? Where's this money coming from, fam? If it's not coming from a group of, like, individuals who are donating, where's it coming from? Could it possibly come from Big Pharma? Because I heard Beto O'Rourke is kind of backtracking now on his universal single-payer
Medicare
healthcare.
for all. Yeah, all of that. And I mean, like you said before, he's like one of the last couple cards that they have. Yeah. Like if he doesn't stick and Biden doesn't stick, they're shit out of luck. So they're in panic mode right now. They're getting as many people in the establishment to stand behind Beto. Beto is the quintessential Obama. He's the quintessential progressive, the guy that looks good on paper, but really is nothing.
I think he could be a good guy if he really goes and runs a good campaign.
And by the way, and you're going to be accused of being a conspiracy theorist, of not having all the facts, of not knowing what you're talking about. But this is using critical thinking skills. This is, we have seen in America to have lost the ability to have critical thinking skills and to use them because we just seem to like look at something, read it, and take it for what it's worth. And that's not how things work anymore. They're not going to work like that any longer.
And the silence and the smear tactics of the Democratic Party is alive and well. You know what I'm saying? They'll silence you. They'll say you're toxic, that you're a conspiracy theorist. But, we've seen this before. This is like the same playbook. It might not be obvious to a lot of people in the mainstream who are working 2-3 jobs. So that's why you got to keep squeaking this stuff. The stuff that Fee is giving you here, this is some great shit. So keep squeaking as a mice against the avalanche and tell people, no, Beto's money does not add up. He's getting money from wrong people, different spots, and he has no chance of beating Donald Trump. Regardless what CNN and MSN try to tell you today, because that's what they're trying to tell you.
Did you have anything, Jonathan?
Yeah. Can I add something real quick?
Of course.
So I saw that it originally broke with his communications director, Chris Evans. Mm-hmm. He was the first one to state this. He's like, raised a record-breaking $6.136 million in online contributions, no PACs, corporations or special interests. That's weird. So it's weird that they announced it 4 days later.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of, just the right the day of.
The day, like Bernie Sanders did. Oh, we raised so far 1 million, 2 million, 3
we
million.
knew it. We had it up to date. It was like breaking news. Bernie Sanders just reported, and that was like right when it happened. Fam, I think you hit it on the nose. My boy Eric Zachary's chiming on in. They're in panic mode.
Yeah.
They are in full-fledged fucking panic mode that they come back 4 days later and go, oh, look, he beat Bernie Sanders without super PACs, without special interests. They're straight out gaslighting and lying to you. Squeak against the avalanche. Tell them, no, these numbers are not adding up. This isn't Bernie Sanders. He cannot beat Donald Trump.
And don't stay quiet because they're going to say that this is good fundraising. We're not talking about it being good fundraising. Of course, Democrats raise well. The establishment Democrats, they know who they go to.
Yeah.
And I've been in these parties. I've been in parties where literally people are giving out checks to the maximum amount.
Yeah.
So if a couple's married, they get 2 of those checks. And if they have the $5,000, the $5,600, they'll get over $10,000 in one go. And they have that money to do that. Yeah. So now that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about grassroots. We're talking about the fact that people in Beto's campaign who used to work for Bernie's campaign, who were burners before, are now using that to make him look like a grassroots candidate that went out there and all of a sudden has all these small donors who are giving him money, who is this guy that's going to, present something different.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Can I ask you a question, fam? Why did they do the same thing? It was like, we did a show on Kamala Harris being a cop, pretty much just on her decision-making, on her law decisions, on her cases, her decisions she had to make as a district attorney, and it was awful. And then we had to go over to the money, and it was awful. Beto, the same thing. We're going over the money situation right now, where he's getting his money. We haven't even gone to his votes, fam. How he votes lockstep and barrel with a lot of Republicans. I mean, what are these Democrats trying to do? Are they really think that the mainstream people are going to be that stupid? No. There's a reason why people are coming to YouTube and all these grassroots shows are getting so many views because people don't trust and listen to the mainstream anymore. But we can't stop, fam. We cannot let up. It's the same kind of thing. And let me tell you something. What's coming soon to a DNC third try near you, Joe Biden is coming. So wait for that one.
Just the last thing. I just want to show you guys that you can look at search trends for certain terms, right? So you look up, who looked up Beto donate and who looked up Bernie donate. And for the last 30 days, you can see, when Bernie announced, of course, a lot of people looked him up. And then when Beto announced, it wasn't even that much.
Spike.
It was like a small spike.
Yeah. And look how fat that big cave is over there, that big mountain over there.
No way.
It's just like, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, James Lee has said too as well, hey, people, anybody who donated to Beto's campaign, can you please put your receipt up? Fam, I haven't seen a receipt yet.
Yeah, I have this poll right now. And so far, let's see, on Twitter, we have...
Anybody? Is there anybody who donated for Beto O'Rourke? Can we please... I mean, I know you'll be embarrassing yourself, but it's okay. We won't rag on you that hard. Show us your receipt. Or if for a friend, we won't even rag on you at all. Because I haven't seen one receipt come up yet.
Let me look real quick, fam. I just want to give everybody the update on this poll I have. Right now, 974 votes with 1 day and 14 hours left. Beto 8% and Bernie 92%. So I asked people to put if they donated to Beto or Bernie. And the majority of people, because I just, every single time, like, I know my newsfeed has a lot of burners, but there's also some Beto supporters there. Nobody was really talking about him. So it's just really weird to me that he got such a high number.
Well, so, they could also be pushing him for the vice president too as well. So that's something we have to consider as, what's going on. I think the Democratic Party has said this the whole time, fam.
Yeah.
And I don't want Kamala Harris or Beto to be the vice president. I think it stands against everything that the progressive movement wants to achieve and move forward. And that's first off getting rid of this establishment money Democrats. However, I told you this before for years, a long time, and this is not a conspiracy theory, it's just my opinion, that they're going to go and try to strike a deal. That they're going to try to get one of these establishment folk as the vice president and say, hey, listen, we'll get you in the race with Donald early, we'll support you early, but you got to give us our guy. So I'm also looking as a chess move, are they going to try to take my rook? Are they going to try to move the bishop here? But I think a lot of this has to do with trying to get one of these guys to be a vice president.
I think that they're not even going there. I genuinely think that they are still considering getting Bernie out as much as possible because they really do not want him in there because they know that when he's in there, he's not going to play around.
Yeah.
And he's a threat. And that's why we need to stay on top of everything and not silence our voices because we do not want a repeat of 2016 when we're finding out about things as they're happening. As they're happening, it's too late. We need to be ahead, 10, 20 steps ahead. Yeah. And speaking of this, I wanted to talk about the New Zealand massacre.
Yes. Next subject we're going to go on to here. Yes.
Because the take on this, the normal take on this is obviously this is horrible. Seeing people gunned down, for their beliefs. And in a place like New Zealand, specifically, a place like that where this doesn't happen. Okay, in America, this happens all the time, every day, unfortunately. But in a place like New Zealand, this is difficult to see. Now, the gentleman who, I don't call him a gentleman, but the shooter was a Trump supporter. He was someone that believed in Trump. And Sean King posted this tweet when this first broke out. He said the New Zealand mosque shooter says in his manifesto that he admires Donald Trump because Trump is a symbol of renewed white identity and common purpose. Now, the police say that so far the toll is 50. It rose from 49 to 50. 50 people were also injured. 36 remain in a hospital. It is the worst mass shooting in New Zealand history. But the media, of course, will treat this different. So Mel, my friend Mel from She Does, posted this picture. of the just the different ways the mirror has viewed this shooter. He paints him as an angelic boy who grew up into an evil far-right family versus the ISIS maniac that killed 50 in a gay club back in the Orlando shooting. So I just wanted to point that out because that is exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Specifically here and in Western countries like the UK, how we frame people of color, especially brown people who may appear to be Muslim versus a white man. We always find the sympathetic story. He was a child. He was a kid. He didn't know. Blah, blah, blah. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
But
do you think it has a lot to do tied with these papers that also are part of the war machine and part of the military-industrial complex, that they got to always keep this mainstream rhetoric or this sense of like, hey, most Muslim people are radicalized and, there's nothing we can do. We have to, and he demonizes them. You know what I'm saying?
It's also, it's also because of that, because the more the public thinks them a danger, the more likely they're going to support your war.
Yeah.
It's all tied in, exactly. But the same Democrats, what I want to point out here is the same Democrats who are calling out thoughts and prayers, who are saying, oh, my condolences are with his family or with the families of the affected ones. Right? Oh, yeah. Are the same Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Chelsea Clinton and the Clintons who have been pushing anti-Muslim bigotry towards people like Ilhan Omar for standing up against AIPAC and the lobbyists. And I will not sit here and let that go on and let them pat themselves on the back for just putting out a tweet in support.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's kind of disgusting, too, the way they do this thing. I mean, poor Ilhan. We talked about it. They did this label of anti-Semitism for speaking against lobbyists, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, I think you have a little thing here that it's confirmed that somebody's going to be speaking for that lobbyist, fam. Who is it?
Of course, Nancy Pelosi will be speaking at the AIPAC.
Look at this shit.
She's confirmed to be a speaker at the AIPAC summit. It's the conference, and she is the one that's been single-handedly trying to push Ilhan. In fact, her and a few other Democrats are trying to get her replaced already.
Yeah.
Already. They're focused on that. And Ilhan has been a voice of reason against our regime change wars, against our love affair with AIPAC and all of these lobbyists.
All lobbyists.
And we need her in Congress.
Yeah.
So
she's my new favorite politician.
Absolutely. Mine too.
I love Ilhan Omar and what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's the twist of ways. Listen, if you've been exposed out there, I know we've exposed Nancy Pelosi so many times, but the fact that you're even speaking at AIPAC when you were so hypocritical and you're going to go back and say that this is anti-Semitism when it's just your donors, baby. They're paying you. You've been exposed. We got you. And you know who else has been exposed?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Schumer, another punk ass. Yeah. What about Obama, too? Sorry.
Yeah. And Chelsea Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
Who was confronted by the Palestinian youth. And
this is great.
We have the video here if you have it, Johnny. Let's take a look at this. And give me a second.
Is that it right there?
Basically, yes.
Oh, I got to hear this. Put the volume up.
I'm so sorry. Well, certainly it was never my intention. I do believe words matter. I believe we have to show
They do matter. And this right here is the result of a massacre stoked by people like you and the words that you put out into the world. And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that deep inside. 49 people died because of the rhetoric that you put out there.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think...
What does "I'm sorry you feel that way" mean? What does that mean?
Your parents...
Okay.
And she deserved it, fam.
She did.
She put it out there when she was just blasting Ilhan about the speech.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Blasting Ilhan. That's what this young girl means. You guys love to stroke your egos and pat yourselves on the back. But the minute you actually get a chance to do something for someone close to you, it is the minute you don't do it because you're a coward. And attacking Ilhan like that and making it this anti-Semitic trope that it wasn't, is it precisely why the hatred is there against Muslims. It's not just fueled by the right, is the entire point. It's also fueled by the Democrats who in front of your face, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. But behind the scenes, they are actually perpetuating these wars, using the same kind of language.
Yep.
And they're hypocrites, because at least you know what you're getting with the Republicans. You know where they stand. But with these Democrats, they're hypocrites. They go behind your back, they stab you 5 times, and then they say, "Oh, I'm very sorry that you're hurting."
That's why they're more dangerous. And when I keep telling you, it's like, at least you understand. You wake up a Republican in the middle of the night, I'll tell you what he stands for. You wake up that Democrat, they're going to give you platitudes, then go behind your back, pull any type of money or social program that's going to help everyday middle-class people, and then stab you in the back and support wars, just like Obama did, just like Hillary did. And that's why it was so great to see this Palestinian woman go up and tell Chelsea Clinton to her face.
Especially her.
Yes.
Being the daughter of Bill and
I don't want
Hillary.
that woman coming anywhere around politics anymore.
And other Twitter reactions we got from Ariel Gold. She says, Chelsea Clinton is VP of Clinton Foundation, which has taken millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, perhaps most repressive and murderous country in the world. After the gruesome murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, they refused to comment on if they would stop taking Saudi blood money.
And that's exactly what it is. It's Saudi blood money. It's going to kill Yemenis people. It's going to suppress, people of their own country, especially women. I'm going to talk about, the way women are treated in Saudi Arabia. Disgusting. Yeah. But yet we're going to still stand behind them and say that if we talk against Hillary Clinton's policies, we're misogynistic. Sorry, fam. Let me step over you there. Yosef has some stuff to say.
Yes, Yosef Munayer said, in an attempt to steer this conversation around Chelsea Clinton in the wake of an attack that killed 49 Muslims in a useful direction, let's talk a bit more about anti-Muslim racism and liberal complicity in it.
Yeah.
Right? Because liberals are complicit in it. And then he goes on to talk, and then Sarah Abdallah.
Now, this is my girl here. I love this woman here.
She said, you dropped 100,000 bombs on 8 majority Muslim countries and expanded drone strikes tenfold during your presidency, butchering and displacing millions of Muslims along the way. Your condolences are as opportunistic as they are fake. And this is in reference to Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Michelle and I send our condolences to the people of New Zealand. We grieve with you and the Muslim community. All of us must stand against the hatred in all its forms. Yeah, it's really easy to say that when you're not dropping bombs on these same people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
She's the best, Sarah. I love this woman. She's the best on Twitter. First of all, she's savage. She just comes right out and just says it. And what she says, it's just so eye-opening and stuff like that. To say that your condolences are opportunistic as they are fake. It just sums it up.
Yep.
Think about it. She's just opportunistic people over here that will say anything to your face. That's what makes this Democratic Party establishment nationwide for the whole country and even here in California so dangerous, fam. Did you want to say anything about else about this? Because we got to talk about the California Democratic Party, which I think is in a worse position than the National Party. Because the National Party has Bernie Sanders coming, and he's going to bust through that door, hopefully, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
But who is this rusty guy is the thing we have to be saying, because the most powerful Democratic Party out there in the country happens to be
the
most money,
California.
Raise the money. It's the California Democratic Party. Now, the last election we have, yes, by far. We're talking about corrupt labor, corrupt fracking money. You know what I'm saying? There's big pharma money in there. I mean, we have a supermajority of Democrats. It's in our bylaw. It's not in our bylaws. It's in our platform, to have single-payer health care, yet we can't achieve it. Why is that? Because the Democratic Party in California is just run by a bunch of freaking aristocrats. And I mean freaking plutocrats, democracy, I don't want to go off. They are oligarchs. They're just, you were saying, Fran, they might be what?
They might be like the biggest threat to actual democracy in the entire United States, to be honest. After living here and experiencing the things they do and seeing how low they go, and seeing how much money and power they have as compared to the rest of the United States, they definitely, I think, are standing in the way of actual progress.
Yeah. And they lack accountability.
Absolutely.
Their elections have been a sham. Maria Estrada came out. We went to an LA CDP meeting, which is a Los Angeles County Democratic Party. And the room was filled with a bunch of dinos. I saw, Triceratops over there and platypuses over here. It was like ridiculous because I was like, what is going on with this party? Because it's like Republican light in the room, no offense. And they have this whole kind of like the sense of entitlement. Hey, we're Democrats, ladies and gentlemen. We behave a certain way. Well, the way you're behaving is terrible. No accountability and no transparency, too, as well.
There's pasta.
The body is led by Mark Gonzalez over here right now because Eric Baumann had to step down in a disputable election last time. You can see Mark Gonzalez right over there in the middle. He's the guy standing up at the podium. There he is, my man, Gonzo, who, was not the nicest guy in the world to me. At the first time I met him, but it was really nice this time, and he allowed me to film because I said we need transparency. Now, I'm going to show this here. I want you to rewind this here because this is the first part I'm going to talk about. Here is Dallas Fowler, who represents Kimberly Ellis. They spent 2 hours, fam, arguing, whether they can move the threshold for an endorsement process, which there should be no endorsement whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? This is the Democratic chair. Let the votes decide. Let the delegates decide. No party should be endorsing somebody else over someone else. And the LA CDP is enriched with Labor Party members and parties of labor who whip the votes. They have the money. They have the resources to get online. And I saw this room argue for 2 hours on trying to move the threshold from 60% to 50%. Now, understand this, fam. This party's had a problem with integrity. This party has a party with transparency. They have a history of not running their own elections right. Why would they want to go in here and manipulate the situation? Okay? Now, here's Dallas Fowler. Put her up when she says that video you just had right here. And watch how Dallas calls out the chair. And watch what he has to say.
On the motion, point of order was raised before the body voted on a motion to allow 7 minutes per candidate. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any debate on the 7 minutes per candidate issue? If there is none, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by
saying. The video? It was the last video with the Dallas Fowler, the girl. You just had it up 2 seconds ago. She speaks. It's the wrong video. It's the video you just had on before that. No, it's the video you just played. Yeah, play it again with the volume. Here it is.
It's not going to look good. I think it's hurt the whole party. This what's going on.
Now watch what she says.
Point of order.
All right, there it is. That's what she was doing. She was calling out that she's like, listen, guys, Kimberly Ellis never agreed to this process over here. And this process came up quick. And people like Lauren Steiner and Maria Estrada got on it. They get the news out there like, oh, guys, get down to this meeting because they're going to try to change the whole process and weigh it in favor of Rusty Hicks. They talked about the bylaws. They brought this up. They even silenced Melissa Michelson in the room. They didn't want her to speak, where she had to fight for her right to speak. And then the chair, Mark Gonzalez, had to apologize. So it was really a disgusting thing. And here's the thing, fam, at the end of it, and you can hear me say to the guy, I'm like, this doesn't look good. He goes, this doesn't look good for your candidate. I'm like, no, this doesn't look good for your party. How are you going to attract people from the outside to come into this party when you're living in your own echo chamber and your own bubble and you're swaying the rules again for your establishment candidate?
They don't want people from the outside because they don't need them.
Yeah. Well, they don't want them stopping the progress from the progressives in the movie. Now, after it was all said and done, they had a vote after the candidates spoke, and Rusty got 70% of the votes anyways. So the whole process, they would have had more than the threshold that was set in stone anyways, that they changed, that they went out of their way to make themselves look like cheating assholes. And Dallas Fowler called them out. There was even a fight in the room. And this is how disgusting it was. They threw the Kimberly Ellis supporter out of the room, and they let the Rusty Hicks supporter stay in the room. Okay? Wow. And I'm going to show you a video of Rusty Hicks speaking. This was the first time I got to speak. Now, breaking news, if you are watching grass grow or if you're watching paint dry, it might be more exciting to listen to this chump speak. Go ahead.
Okay, moving forward. Okay. Is there a representative or is Rusty Hicks here?
We're at the two, and we can play the rest of that last video. Somebody yelled out to Mark Gonzalez, how much are they paying you? He said, 0. They know. People in the room with the wrestling room on the camera. That was the whole room for this guy.
Good evening, sisters and brothers and Democrats. How are we doing tonight? Yeah. So I have 3 commitments that I want to make to you tonight. The first is that I'm not going to take 7 minutes. The second is, we have great choices for chair of our party. And I think it's important that we conduct ourselves as part of this campaign to ensure that we can actually do the job if we're elected. And therefore, I've made the commitment that I will not speak ill of the background, the qualifications, or the platform of any candidate for chair.
I won't speak ill.
I know, right?
I don't think you can actually unify this party by relitigating and re-engaging in what we have all been a part of. It is time for us to come together because we've got to move from resisting the guy in the White House to replacing the guy in the White House. The third commitment that I want to make to you tonight is that I want to continue to do what we've been doing here in Los Angeles. I've had the honor and privilege of representing 300 local unions and 800,000 workers all across the county of Los Angeles, many of whom don't always see the world in the same way. Representing teachers and nurses, hotel workers and janitors and grocery workers, on one hand, and construction workers, longshoremen, firefighters, and deputy sheriffs on the other hand. They often see the world in a different way. And yet, despite those differences, we've been able to disagree without getting disagreeable. We've been able to move forward without compromising on our core values. I've been able to work with many of you in this room to raise the wage to $15 an hour in Los Angeles.
Okay. Pasta?
Oh! Whoa, sorry. Did he say anything? Anything?
The only good thing was about raising $15 an hour, the wage, which, by the way, wouldn't have started without Senator Bernie Sanders going and literally marching with people with the Fight for 15 people who, like, $15 an hour was being called ludicrous by the majority of the Democratic Party until Bernie Sanders came by and said, hey, we need a $15 minimum wage. So that's the only thing he said. Kind of taking credit for that when it's actually been the people out there marching that are, to be credited for that, just by the way.
This guy's not going to give us health care in California.
He's not going to give
this
you anything.
This guy isn't going to ban fracking.
Why do you think he didn't start with that? If you're going to give someone that,
nothing.
You start with that. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to go and fight for Medicare for all. I'm going to fight for rebuilding the literal crumbling infrastructure of California, particularly Los Angeles. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Of doing something about the high rent prices, rent control, something.
Anything.
He's not.
He'd even talk about his plans of what he's going to do to run the party. When Kimberly Ellis got up there, she talked about, listen, we're going to make sure that Sacramento and LA has a connection that they sometimes, disappear from. Mm-hmm. When people come to us to fundraise, they're not just going to fundraise with the Democratic Party of California and turn their back on them. They're going to make sure they're going to help our interest within this party. She talked about so many things, and even DeRocca talked about things that were more significant, had a much better speech. Once again, Rusty Hicks comes up. Platitudes. We got to go from resisting the man in the White House to replacing the man in the White House.
Yay!
He's channeling his little Beto over there. It's just, once again, the party is in disarray. It's not going to be able to recruit people from the outside and get them in when you have shills like that. This is Anthony Rendon's handpicked guys. They cheated with a lot of these delegate elections.
Oh.
Okay? And here's the thing, when the organized labor unions, some of these bad unions like that, Rusty will represent, you're talking about they have the money to get on the phone and start whipping the votes. They have an unfair advantage to start calling these delegates that they hand-placed, that they cheated to get in office in the first place, that no media is paying attention to. No media is holding any of these elections accountable. Nobody's holding any of these tactics accountable for what they are doing. And then when we show up, me and the Lawrence Steiners, we get chastised and told not to film in certain places.
If you have nothing to hide, why block the filming? And it's also worth noting that Ed Buck sent his delegate representative to vote for Rusty Hicks.
He did,
as well. And that's disgusting.
And how does Ellen Buck has a fucking delegate right now anymore? How is he not stripped of his credentials and whatnot? Oh, no, but because he's given that party money, fam.
And the only reason I have any sort of hope in the world is because I believe the children are our future, fam.
Can I just say this about Beto and Rusty Hicks real quick before we go on?
Yep.
It's all about the children. Why don't we play that song? We should have got that song.
Because they'll shut us down.
Children are the future.
And I wanted to hear you sing it.
I'll sing it while you show the pictures. I believe the children.
So thousands of kids across the world actually skipped school to participate in the March for Climate Justice in an effort to raise awareness for the drastic changes and dangers of climate change. Sorry, Johnny says you're hurting him.
To make
his
it
ear.
easier. Let the children. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's beautiful stuff over here, fam. Because I love what it. This. Listen, let me tell you something. I wanted to start this whole thing when I met you, fam. You know, there's an age difference between us. I was just like, wow, these millennials are really taking control. So when people would say, oh, millennials aren't doing shit, I'd say, not the millennials I've met on the campaign, not the people I've seen. And this is one of those moments, fam. I really do think about you when I see these moments and the movement going for the young children, because it is their future. It is their world. And we have to stop these freaking narcissistic megalomaniacs from drilling and polluting our world to the point where it's beyond repair and we all suffer the consequences.
And you can see the thousands and thousands and probably millions across the world, of course, who of kids who literally did this. Kids doing this, showing us the way, telling the adults that you need to give a shit. You need to give a shit. I want you to panic. A lot of the signs said, I want you to stop what you're doing. I want you to pay attention. I need you to I need to shake you, and you need to see what's going on, because I'm going to live with this. I'm going to live with this is what they're saying. You don't care because you're going to die. You're old, but I'm going to live with this. And that's what it is. And why would I, as a 10-year-old, want to go to school? Why would I care about a future that is not any more guaranteed to me?
Yeah.
You know,
I love that sign.
It's just not. Why? Yeah. What's the point? Well, the point is that we need to do something, and we really don't have time, which is why everything we talked about today is so important. We cannot any longer let others tell us what we can accept. We can no longer have the time. We just don't have it anymore. We don't have the time to put someone like Beto, who's going to lose to Trump, or put someone like Beto, who's not going to push for Medicare for all, or put someone like Rusty, who isn't really on your side, who's just trying to get a political career. We're not here for that. We're here to actually try to salvage what we can of this planet. It is that bad. And the more we ignore that fact, the more these kids are going to go out and show it to us. And if it takes them getting out of school, rioting, believe me, this is a generation that's going to do it. Yeah. Because they have no choice.
Yeah, and you talk about these guys like Beto, he wasn't an activist. You know, Rusty Hicks was no activist. These guys are just like, all Beto had was a freaking good campaign, and now he's running for president. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then Rusty Hicks, you know, when you talk about the AOCs, when you talk about the Ilhan Omars, you talk about these are people who are activists. These are people who are in the fold, out there fighting in the streets. They have invested interest right here to fight for you. Not just this. Beto and Hicks is all about this. AOC and Ilhan is all about this. Ilhan says she knows why she's here. Mm-hmm. She knows what she's fighting for. She's put here to make these people feel as uncomfortable as can be for taking money from lobbyists and allowing them to exist and spread their own rhetoric, which is just bullshit, fam.
Absolutely, fam.
And we have to do a story coming up. I know we didn't talk about Venezuela today. I went to the Hands Off Venezuela March. We'll get to that in our next show. We have to talk about this obsession with the right media of AOC. Me and Johnny were watching a show the other day. If we had to do a shot every time they said AOC, we'd be drunk before the fucking first commercial break. They are obsessed with this woman, and this woman has changed the debate. And I love it, fam.
Imitation and obsession is the most sincere form of flattery. Yeah, absolutely. So when people are hating on you and obsessed with you, that's because they secretly love you. Yeah.
Oh, so you hate on me all the time, so you secretly love me, fam.
Secretly, fam. Secretly.
Thank you for watching the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pastor Jardula.
I'm Fiorella. Thanks for watching, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.